One of my favorite movies growing up was The Sandlot, and I'm about to talk about it. Spoiler alert. But Father Christopher, we were going to watch it tonight. We had it queued up on Hulu. It came out 31 years ago. And it's still just as good if you know the ending. If you don't know the movie I'm talking about, I promise you know the line. You're killing me, Smalls. I promise you know that line. The Sandlot is about a boy who moves to a new neighborhood and starts playing baseball with the other boys in the neighborhood. After all kinds of adventures and mischief, they one day find themselves without a baseball. Smalls, the new kid in town, says he has one, and he runs home to grab it from its place in the home office. In a matter of time, Smalls hits it over the fence into the yard with a terrifying dog. He panics, realizing he's lost this ball. In the iconic scene, one boy asks, "Listen to me, Smalls. It's a matter of life and death. Where did your old man get that ball?" Smalls responds saying, "The person his stepdad got it from signed it. Some lady named Ruth. Baby Ruth." At this point, all of the boys panic, realizing they have just lost the baseball signed by the greatest player that ever lived. This movie came out before Jose Altuve. "You mean to tell me," these boys say, "that you went home and swiped a ball that was signed by Babe Ruth, and you brought it here and actually played with it?" This week, we're back in John 6. We hear these questions after Jesus explains that he is the bread of eternal life. Is this not Jesus, the son of Joseph? Do we not know his father and mother? Then how can he say, "I have come down from heaven"? Now, in The Sandlot, Smalls used that baseball because he didn't understand what it was. He knew it was important, kept in a special place, but he was utterly mistaken on how important. He misunderstands that when that ball received that signature, its entire purpose changed. These Jews are asking the right question of Jesus. It is very important that we know who is giving the Eucharist. If this Eucharist is given by God, marked with his signature, his death, his body and blood consecrated at the altar, changed in very substance, then we cannot treat it like regular food. If all of this is true, it will change everything, and specifically, it will change our practices, our behaviors. So to go over a few, we should enter into sacred silence at the Holy Mass. The narthex is where we transition from the outside world into the church, but when we enter through the interior doors, we enter into silence. We enter into mystery, from that noisy world into the silence of our hearts, into the silence of the Holy Mass. We should dress properly. If this is truly as important as we say it is, let's dress for the occasion. A good question to ask yourself is, if Jesus showed up at the Mass, would I be comfortable with my wardrobe decision? Well, Jesus shows up every single Mass. We should arrive early, and we should stay until the very end. We know there are a few exceptions for health and other grave reasons, but besides those, we should all remain for the final blessing and the singing of the recessional hymn. We should bring our children. We should not be afraid to bring them close to the altar. As Cardinal DiNardo likes to say, the children are not the future. They are the present. We understand that you as parents have to bear these learning pains, and we don't want you to ever feel like your child needs to go straight back the second they make a sound. Now, if we have a full meltdown on our hands, we trust you to judge, taking them out to calm them down for a second, but please bring them back as soon as you can. We believe they can be better in the second half. Getting an infant from cries and misunderstanding to silence is hard. It takes patience, and thank you, parents, for your patience. And we promise you to give you ours. We should receive communion with reverence. Here in the United States, as a sign of unity, the bishops recommend that the proper way of receiving communion is making a simple bow and then receiving the Blessed Sacrament either in the hand or on the tongue. And they also make clear, if your sense of piety urges you to kneel, be assured that you will not be denied communion. The priest or the minister will say every time, the body of Christ. And our proper response is one and only word, Amen, which means so be it, or I believe. So you don't need to say thank you. You don't need to say your homily wasn't that good today. Just say Amen. If you do receive in the hand, take a step to the side and consume the sacred host immediately in the presence of the minister. And please receive the host. Do not grab the host. And we don't want to see any trap doors. That's this, okay? One hand on top of the other. Those kids panicked at that Babe Ruth baseball being misused, and all of us in the Catholic Church panic at the Eucharist being misused, at the Eucharist being mishandled. If you receive on the tongue, open your mouth and rely on the stickiness of your tongue rather than on the length. And no coin slots, please. That's what we call them. That's hard. That's hard to fit. We should pray well in both preparation and thanksgiving for this Holy Eucharist. Ask for something. Pray for someone. If the Eucharist can't even change our behavior right before and after our reception, how will it ever change our lives? Let's take this seriously. So if someone mirrors that very question from Sandlot, we will be prepared to answer. Listen to me, Smalls. It's a matter of life and death. Where did you get that Eucharist? We can respond from our Heavenly Father who sent down Jesus Christ as bread from heaven. And we receive him in the Eucharist. Let us prove it by our worship, lest we be accused. Like Smalls, you mean to tell me that you believe you are offering and receiving the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ, and you show up late, and you leave early, and you wear those clothes, and you receive it like it's just regular food, and you don't rely on it every Sunday to make you into a saint? There's a saying in the Catholic Church, lex orandi, lex credendi, law of prayer, law of belief. Our law of prayer, our behavior in prayer matches our beliefs. And this works both ways. We can witness to the world the reality present here at the Mass. We can witness to parishioners, but also we can witness to ourselves. The tension that we live in this spiritual life, in our sinfulness, we naturally want to dismiss Jesus, to dismiss God, to replace him with ourselves. Fulton Sheen said it so well. If you do not live what you believe, you will end up believing what you live. Brothers and sisters, if we treat that host like it's a piece of bread that doesn't taste very good, we're going to believe that is all it is. In his lifelong struggle for an increase in faith and adoration to God, St. Augustine recommends to himself first and to all of us that we repeat the words in Mark 9:24. Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. We want to believe, but we need faith. We need the gift of faith. So we believe first with our actions. We believe with our prayers. We believe with our reverence. We believe with our love. And our Lord increases our faith with this very Eucharist. He does it every time we receive him because it's his plan for us. It's his plan for an eternity in communion with him. Once again, consider the amazement of those boys in that baseball. You mean to tell me that you went home and swiped a ball that was signed by Babe Ruth and you brought it out here and actually played with it? Maybe we can say something similar. I mean to tell you that I went to my home, to my Catholic Church. I received the Eucharist. I actually received the graces therein, and I became a saint. The world will be amazed by that.